Hello again! I'm back with another Godzilla movie review. This time it's number 19 in the series, 1992's Godzilla and Mothra: The Battle for Earth, also known as Godzilla vs. Mothra. Once again, let's pause to take in the poster art, very nice. This is yet another complicated one to summarize. As with last time, we had to watch the dubbed version, which is not my preference, but it's okay. And also, as with last time, I'm not totally sure that I've got the whole story straight. Basically, the crashing of a meteorite into the ocean simultaneously triggers enormous environmental upheaval and brings three kaiju out of hiding: Godzilla, Mothra, and a so-called Black Mothra named Batra, who's a longtime foe of Mothra's. These monsters do their part destroying cities and terrorizing the Japanese population, but mainly they go after each other. So it's not just Godzilla vs. Mothra, but also Godzilla vs. Batra and Batra vs. Mothra. As is the case with a lot of Godzilla movies, probably most Godzilla movies, the first half spends more time on the human characters and developing the plot, while the second half devotes itself primarily to the monsters, with the humans usually watching them fight from the sidelines or from a room with a lot of computers and a huge viewing screen. The human element here mainly focuses on an archaeologist who gets fished out of jail to lead an expedition to Infant Island. This character is clearly an Indiana Jones type, and the first half hour borrows heavily from that series, with the opening Raiders of the Lost Ark-like sequence with the booby-trapped tomb and stolen artifact, and the perilous rope bridge scene. He's accompanied on the trip, not by choice, by his ex-wife and an agent from the corporation behind the expedition. The divorced couple have a little passive-aggressive thing going on where they keep pushing each other's buttons, yet you know there's still something there. However, the hurdle in their relationship turns out to be his unwillingness to commit to being a father to their little girl. This more serious turn helped give the subplot a little more substance than I initially expected it would have. At some point, they're joined by Mickey the Psychic Girl, played again by Megumi Odaka. She works at some sort of environmental station, where you also find this delightful character who's going out of his mind over this whole meteorite disaster.
All it was one meteorite. How could it bring about so many disasters at one time?
Also at this station is Akira Takarada. I didn't know he was going to be in the movie. It was such a pleasure to see him again, for the first time since '66's Godzilla vs. the Sea Monster. He's one of my three favorite Godzilla actors, and also the star of '64's Mothra vs. Godzilla, so it's cool to have him back for this rematch of sorts, even in a much smaller role, and he adds a nice, dignified, stabilizing presence. You know who's not dignified? This guy. The evil businessman who wants to exploit Mothra. I think he gets the Hammy Acting Award. Granted, part of the absurdity of his performance comes from the dubbing, but not all of it. In addition to Mothra's egg, the trio of explorers also encounter Mothra's little twins as well. Yay! Here they are called the Cosmos, and are played by Keiko Imamura and Sayaka Osawa. They're not actual twins like Emi and Yumi Ito were. The Cosmos supply us with a whole lot of backstory about Mothra being the guardian of the Earth in times past in the big fight with Batra, who was created by Earth to defend the Earth and hates the human race for messing up the planet. This movie has a big environmentalist theme. All the geological catastrophes brought about by the meteorite crashing were actually initially caused by mankind's careless destruction of the planet. It doesn't quite hammer you over the head with it like, say, Godzilla vs. the Smog Monster did, but it's a pretty overt message. Or at least it is in the dubbed version. You know, as far as the dubbing goes, I do think after a while, you kind of get used to it. Kind of. And it does give the movie a lot of opportunity for unintentional humor.
Boy, what a day. Godzilla's at large once again.
I'm also wondering if the dubs for these movies were all done by the same very small group of people. I only watched Godzilla vs. King Ghidorah a few days ago, and some of the voices here sound awfully familiar. But enough about the humans, let's talk about the monsters. Godzilla gets not one but two impressive entrances in this movie, which might be overdoing it, but who cares, it's Godzilla! And I've noticed that pretty much ever since Return of Godzilla in 1984, these movies have really loved to include a shot of Godzilla backlit by fire and or lava. This movie really goes in big for spectacle and color. An early example is this underwater fight between Godzilla and Batra, a brilliant display of purple, yellow, blue, and red laser beams. It's very creative and much more visually interesting than just two rubber suits wrestling in a murky pool. Batra, by the way, is super ugly, possibly uglier than Megalon, although, I don't know, Megalon was nasty. And at least Batra gets to transform, even though metamorphosis unfortunately doesn't have quite the same beautification effect for him as it does for Mothra. Note the devil horns. And here's a little side note, like King Ghidorah in the last movie, he's also been given Rodan's roar. And as for Mothra, oh my goodness, how could I forget how much I enjoy Mothra movies? The turning point for this film, the moment when I went from being like, this is okay, to I'm enjoying this, was approximately at the 48-minute mark when the twins sing Mothra's song. Akira Ifukube did the music for this film, and I love that he brought back, with slight modifications, the original Mothra song composed for the 1961 film by Yuji Koseki. And I don't mind at all that it's gonna get stuck in my head again, because honestly, it never left. I've been singing this song for months now. But, and I didn't think it could get any better, sometime later, during Mothra's transformation sequence, the twins sing Ifukube's Mothra composition, the theme known as Sacred Springs, which was first featured in '64's Mothra vs. Godzilla. This 3-minute sequence is, I'm gonna say it, it's beautiful, and I love the way it was filmed, with the twins making their perfectly symmetrical hand motions and the crowd watching in awe as Mothra frees herself from her cocoon. There's something about it that's so peaceful and mesmerizing and, okay, even a little emotional. I watched it a second time when I was getting ready to do this review, and yeah, I was moved. And then Mothra takes flight, and she's so graceful and vibrant and fuzzy looking, and Mothra at night is just gorgeous. The fight scenes here, which I guess should be the big focus in a movie subtitled The Battle for Earth, are interesting. I laughed at the moment when Godzilla blasts Mothra in larva form out of the water and makes a motion with his head like he's saying, "Ha, take that." The Heisei Godzilla doesn't usually get sassy like that. This was like a throwback to the Showa days. Like I said, the underwater fight is cool, and we get treated to a couple creative moments in the fight located at the Wonder Eggs theme park, a rare aerial battle between Mothra and Batra, and a hilarious moment when Batra pitches a Ferris wheel at Godzilla. There is one thing I keep noticing, and I think it's about time I brought it up. What's with all the gold glitter? I'm not complaining about it, mind you. It's different, it's sparkly, everything's better with sparkles. But it is kinda weird, isn't it, that all 3 Heisei movies so far have made it a point to toss gold glitter around? And apparently Mothra now has some kind of glitter power. I don't remember that from previous Mothra movies. I don't know what the properties of this gold glitter dust are, but it sure makes certain scenes more fabulous. Definitely the emphasis is on the visuals here, the colors, the special effects. There's something so aesthetically pleasing about it all that I feel tempted to overlook a lot of the shortcomings, especially when Mothra's on screen and there's lovely music playing. I may not always have been totally sure what was going on in the movie, and boy did it have some goofy stuff, but none of that's abnormal, I guess, and I think I liked this one better than the last 2. Now I'm curious to know what you think of this movie, so go ahead and share your own thoughts on it in the comments down below. It's always a treat to hear what you all have to say, and I'll see you next time. Thanks for watching!